My name is Colin and I'm a camera operator. And I guess my secondary title is Steadicam operator. I was born and bred in South Africa, born in Johannesburg, and I lived there for about 32 years. And growing up, I always thought I'd be a geologist. It always fascinated me. I loved rocks and the outdoors and, minerals and stuff like that. So I landed up going to university for 2 years as a potential geology major. And you can see by where I'm sitting now that didn't work out for me. So I dropped out of university after 2 years, and I was a bit of a loss for what to do because there was nothing else I could think of, that I could do as a career. I thought of stills photography, and that was a potential, but then my dad suggested to me, he was a journalist, he suggested to me, why don't I get into the film business? I went to the South African Broadcasting Corporation, and they used to shoot everything on 16mm film, documentaries, dramas, magazine programs. And I got into their unit, and I landed up working there for about 5 years until I decided that I wanted to join the big leagues, 35mm. So I resigned from the SABC and went freelance. Basically started at the bottom again. As a loader and a second, and then worked my way back up to a first AC. And it was as a first AC that I left South Africa to come to the US. I think there were quite a few movies that affected me deeply. My folks loved musicals, so they took me to a lot of musicals. That made a huge impression on me at the time. I never forget Oliver, which was just such an incredible film, and it just captivated me. And then obviously Sound of Music and Mary Poppins, as a young kid growing up, they were just so fantastical to me. When I got here, one of my great friends was here. He had moved here about 2 years before I came over here. His name's Chris Harov, a fellow South African, and he was already an established Steadicam operator. And I started assisting him. He probably taught me everything I know about Steadicam. He was my mentor. He's an amazing teacher and wonderful guy, and I owe so much to him, for what he taught me. I'd been thinking about moving up to operating for a while. One of the things that really bothered me was the knot that I had in my stomach every night driving home, wondering if I'd got all the shots. Because in those days was film, we didn't have the high-def monitors, and you were never quite sure whether you were pin sharp or not. The turning point for me was we were doing the shot on Michelle Pfeiffer. She was lying in bed, looking straight up at the ceiling, and the camera was directly above her, and it was descending slowly towards her into minimum focus. It was such a hard shot, and it was Michelle's last shot of the movie. I went home that night, with this knot marinating in my stomach, just thinking, God, what if I didn't get that? This is huge. And you only know until the next morning when you go into dailies and you see the footage. It's such an incredible job. I've got to say, hands down, it's the best job on set. You're intimately involved with every aspect of making the film. You're front and center. You're working with the actors. You're working with the director and the DP. You have the best seat in the house. I know that's a cliche, but it is the best seat. You're artistically involved. It's your choices, your framing choices that are going to be up there on the screen that everyone's looking at. And I find it so rewarding, and it's a challenging job. It's just something that never gets old. It's incredibly physical. Regular operating is physical because you do a lot of handheld, and sometimes you contorting your body into weird and wonderful positions. But Steadicam adds a whole new level to that. Film cameras are really heavy, and then some of the digital cameras are extremely heavy as well. It appears to people looking at you that the camera is light because it appears as if the camera is floating, but it's anything but. what you have is this mass that's away from your body, and what it wants to do is fold you forward at the waist, and the only way to counteract that is with your lower back muscles. It can get extremely fatiguing, and you'll probably find that most Steadicam operators have overdeveloped lower back muscles. And it's always, I love putting the Steadicam on people because, the first thing they ever say is like, wow, this is heavy. This is really uncomfortable. This vest goes back a little while. It's from about 1979. This is probably the original Velcro. This was black Velcro. But yeah, it's a lot of blood, sweat and tears has gone into this vest. So this you strap onto your body, and then you have an articulated arm that comes out of here to the actual sled. It allows you to walk, run, go up and down stairs, move around. Dolly grips are there for your safety as well. So if you're doing a fast backup, running backwards, going downstairs, whatever you're doing, they're looking out for you. If you can imagine, if you're flying backwards down a corridor and there's a turn in the corridor, you're not even thinking about that. You put all your trust into him turning you in time, telling you when to turn, telling you when to step. It just, without them, you'd be flat on your back in about 5 seconds. There's probably been 3 directors in my career that I think have been the most consequential. And I owe so much to all 3 of them. J.J. Abrams. J.J. has done 6 feature films, and I've done all of them with him. He is an extraordinary human being. Such a pleasure to work with J.J. Also extremely challenging to work for, because he devises incredibly difficult shots, but then spends half his time apologizing to you for doing it, which just speaks to the kind of guy he is. A second director that has made such an impression on me is Paul Thomas Anderson. I've done 5 of his films. It's such a privilege to be around him and watch him work and listen to him and see how he relates to actors and learn his style of filmmaking. It's quite extraordinary. And then Ben. I'm going to say right off the bat that I just absolutely adore Ben. I can't think of anyone that has been more supportive, kind, generous, someone who's had my back. He's just such an extraordinary person, and I owe so much to him. For me, it's so gratifying because Ben loves Steadicam. He appreciates it. He's collaborative. He's respectful. He trusts you. Everything that you long for in a director, Ben has it. You have the director, who obviously is the last word on everything, but the DP is the guy that I try to satisfy the most, because he's my immediate boss. Some DPs are incredibly collaborative. Others will sort of tell you more what to do than ask you what you want to do, and which I think is fine. It's because my job as an operator is to facilitate and deliver what the DP is asking me to do. It's obviously more rewarding for me if he or she is giving me more leeway. Everything I do is to try and make the DP happy. I think Steadicam, it's just you and the actors. When you're working with other people, and as I said earlier, I've worked with world-class people, world-class dolly grips, but you have to be in perfect sync with one another. When it works, it's extraordinary. When but sometimes you'd prefer to be doing it yourself, which is what you can do as a Steadicam operator, because you know exactly when you want to move, when you want to stop. you have this feeling for the shot, and that gives me a lot of pleasure. A lot of the directors and DPs that I work with still work on film. Paul shoots all of his films on film. JJ on film. Ben uses film a lot. I would say it's still, for me, probably a 50-50 split. One thing I like about film as a Steadicam operator is that the mags are 4 minutes and 11 seconds long. When you run out, and you have to dock it and reload, and you get a chance to have a rest. I did a film earlier this year, The Joker 2, and we were doing this one scene with Joaquin, and it was a digital movie, and one scene was 8 minutes long with a 65 Alexa, which nearly killed me. And 8 minutes is a really long time. What I love about film is that you still have the discipline on set. And I love that. With the digital world, often you'll roll the camera, and then you'll have people wandering around in frame. The director will walk in to give notes. They'll have touch-ups going while the camera's rolling. I just feel that discipline is important on a film set, and I love that about film, because you have to be disciplined. When you roll the camera, you've got to be ready, and then when the shot's done, you cut and start again. So I think that's for me a great thing about film. So yes, I think if I had to choose, I'd choose film. The shots that I feel the most pressure on are shots where the actors are in danger. I remember, this is going back a long time, but on Mission Impossible 3, Tom Cruise had to run along the top of a building. He had to launch himself off it into a giant airbag, like 8 stories down. And I couldn't believe he was doing it, number one. And number two, all you can think of to yourself is like, how do I ask them to do it again if I screwed it up? Because you know that you have to do it again. You can't just walk away and not have the shot. But so there's this immense pressure. It was such a hard shot, and I just remember being so petrified, by it. But it's just something that you have to, I guess, just grit your teeth and do it. And sometimes nerves are good. It focuses your mind.
Did you get it?
We did. It's in the movie, yeah. I can never watch a movie first time off without reliving almost every moment, and it just, for me, I need to see it 2 or 3 times to forget about the technical things, to forget about how cold I was, or how tired I was, or how uncomfortable I was, It's hard as a technician to let go sometimes. I'm very seldom satisfied with a shot, especially Steadicam. I always think to myself, oh boy, I could have done that bit better, or this part better. I very seldom walk away saying to myself, that was perfect, I can't do anything any better than that. Which is probably a healthy thing to have as well, because I've often found that if I ever get sort of complacent, or you think, oh, I've got this, this is, and you're not paying attention, that's when you get bitten. And so it's good to have that nervous energy. I hesitate to call myself an artist, because I've been surrounded my whole career with the most incredible artists. To put myself in that category, is tricky for me. I do accept that there is a certain amount of artistry to camera operating. It's a gut, it's a feel thing, it's instinct, it's taste, it's choice. I hope to think I've got some of that, but we're also art technicians. When you put it into words, it's actually a beautiful blend, isn't it, of sort of technical artistry. I think one of the big things about becoming an operator is communicating. Listen, pay attention, read the sides, know the script, listening to the director, sort of trying to pick up what their vision, and it's your job as an operator to manifest that. If anyone could do it, then it wouldn't be as rewarding as it is. The rewards are 10 times what you put into it. I've been in the business for I guess 33, 34 years, however long it's been. And I've been so blessed by so many people who've helped me along the way. Just extraordinary people who unselfishly give their time, their expertise, their knowledge to me, opportunities, and I just feel so blessed to have been around them and to have benefited from their generosity. And I would just love everyone to know how grateful I am for what they've done for me. And you can never thank everyone. There's too many people to thank, but there's been so many people that have had left such an imprint on my life, and I'll always be grateful for that.